So Devahuti has been inquiring, and Lord Kapila has been responding, explaining. Now, the speciality of the Bhagavatam is, it's not that one question or few questions and answers and it's over. No. Starting with the 6 questions by the sages of Naimisharanya, the whole of Bhagavatam is only questions and answers. There's nothing else. And that's a very interesting format for presentation, because if we closely follow what is the question, what are the answers, we can get some idea about how attentively and carefully both the speaker and the hearer, inquirer and the master, both are hearing and speaking properly, very carefully. And Shukadeva Goswami congratulates Parikshit Maharaj that by your inquiries you are making the subject matter more and more interesting. So inquiries are very, very, very important. You see, even Bhagavad Gita, format is Arjuna is inquiring, Krishna is explaining, answering. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami is inquiring, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is explaining. Even conversation between Ramananda Raya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is inquiring and Ramananda Raya is replying. So this question answer format, it is the way. Mahabharata also, entire Mahabharata, it is inquiry by whom? There are many different personalities who inquire, but the starting of Mahabharata, King Janamejaya, he was the son of Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, when he retired, he handed over the kingdom to Janamejaya, his eldest son. Janamejaya was ruling. And Janamejaya, when he retired, I don't know when he made these inquiries about Mahabharata. So, one Vaishampayana Rishi, who is the disciple of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva compiled the Mahabharata. So, Vaishampayana Rishi learned the Mahabharata by hearing from Vyasadeva, the original author. Okay. And Vaishampayana spoke the Mahabharata to Janamejaya. Just like Shukadeva Goswami learned the Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva, who is the compiler of the Bhagavatam. But he spoke to Parikshit Maharaj. Something similar. So Vaishampayana Rishi heard from Vyasadeva and he spoke to Janamejaya. So this format is there in many scriptures. Upanishads, many of the Upanishads are inquiry by a student and reply by a sage or a guru or a realized soul. Sometimes the inquiry is directly made to the Supreme Lord. It's like Arjuna directly is inquiring from Krishna. So Krishna is speaking. So here Devahuti is inquiring from Kapila. The original inquiry begins in the Bhagavatam. The sages of Naimisharanya are inquiring from Suta Goswami. Suta Goswami is so enlivened by the questions asked by the sages, he says, seeing your eagerness to hear about Krishna, because all the questions, first 6 questions they asked, they're simply pertaining to Krishna. Yat krita Krishna samprashno yena atma suprasidati. The questions you have asked, 6 questions they asked in the beginning. So, Suta Goswami says, Yat kritaha, whatever questions, they pertain to Krishna. Therefore, the reply or the answers to such questions can completely satisfy the self. Yenatma suprasidati. Complete satisfaction. So, Srila Prabhupada, in one discourse, he says, relevant inquiries. The scriptures are full of relevant inquiries. Whoever asks. And it is relevant because only in the human form of life can we ask such questions pertaining to the absolute truth. Brahma Jignasa. Brahma means absolute truth. Jignasa means inquiry. So Brahma Jignasa is possible only for humans, not possible for lower creatures. Even though they also make inquiries, but their inquiries are, where is food, where is shelter, where is some safety, where is some sense, pleasure, etc., etc. Pertaining to the body. But human beings, they have developed consciousness, so they can inquire something more than just inquiries pertaining to the body or bodily demands. And that higher inquiry is directed by the scriptures, by the spiritual master, by the guardians, by the superiors, by the seniors. It is guided. It's like a child. In the beginning, the parents will guide the child. Not that the child will ask, only then the parents will answer or reply. No. The child is guided. But as the child learns, it starts making inquiries. Same way, disciple in the beginning or a student doesn't know how to make inquiries even. So that also the spiritual master or the teacher will train how to make inquiries. Because the inquiries have to be relevant. Otherwise, waste of time asking so many unnecessary questions, which is not in any way going to help progress towards the ultimate goal, the real goal of life, to go back home, back to Godhead. Now, if somebody, nowadays it's like people are making so much inquiries, intelligent inquiries, how to make money. What is the connection of making money with going back to Godhead? Absolutely no connection. No connection at all. So Prabhupada says, wasting time. How to earn money, how to make more money, money. Simply waste of human form of life. So, relevant inquiries, Prabhupada in that discourse, he says, Parikshit Maharaj, the most intelligent king of his time, he made relevant inquiries. He started with 2 questions to Shukadeva Goswami. What is my duty under my present circumstances, condition? And in general, what is the duty of every human being in different statuses and orders of life? So 2 questions. And Shukadeva Goswami said, these variya neshate prashnaha. Your questions are very, very glorious because they lead to ultimate welfare of the entire human society. That's why there were so many people sitting and in that assembly where Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit were there. But nobody else made any inquiry. Only Parikshit made inquiries. Only Parikshit made inquiries. Because they all accepted that Parikshit actually is the most suitable person to make inquiries. And of course, it was already decided that Shukadeva Goswami is the greatest authority among transcendentalists to answer Parikshit's questions. So Parikshit started with 2 questions, and then as Shukadeva Goswami was speaking, and he would say, "Oh, now I have answered whatever questions you asked." Immediately Parikshit has more questions. And in the second canto, 8th chapter, this is a very interesting chapter. That chapter is only questions by Parikshit. All of the chapters, there are questions and answers. But 8th chapter is only questions by Parikshit. He asks a whole lot of questions. And he also tells Shukadeva Goswami, kindly answer all these questions I have asked. And also, please enlighten me about something which is important, which I may not have asked. So what is left for Shukadeva Goswami to not speak? Nothing is left. Everything he has to explain. So the whole Bhagavatam was spoken. 7 days, 18,000 verses. Bhagavad Gita also, you see so many inquiries by Arjuna. Now, number of inquiries are not many, but then Arjuna is asking the most relevant questions, most important questions. And the conversation lasted just 45 minutes. But how much Krishna has revealed, or how much Krishna has spoken. The essence of the Vedic wisdom is there in the short conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. 700 verses. And I told one devotee, kindly count how many verses Krishna has spoken. Because Dhritarashtra is speaking 1 verse. Only 1 verse he is speaking in the Bhagavad Gita, 700 verses. Then Sanjaya is narrating what is happening on the battlefield in response to Dhritarashtra's only question. And then there are questions by Arjuna and replies by Krishna. So fundamentally, there are 4 different persons whose words are recorded by Vyasadeva in the Bhagavad Gita. But Krishna spoke about 560 odd verses. In 560 verses, Krishna is giving the entirety of Vedic wisdom in a summary form. In the Bhagavatam, Parikshit makes extensive inquiries, but still the explanation by Shukadeva Goswami is not just answering the questions alone, but also drawing Parikshit's attention to a similar conversation or a relevant conversation that happened earlier between Narad Muni and Yudhishthira, between Vidura and Maitreya, you see, between Devahuti and Lord Kapila. All this is being cited by Shukadeva Goswami. You see? So, there are multiple conversations in the Bhagavatam. Even though essentially it is Parikshit asking Shukadeva Goswami. But Shukadeva Goswami cites the previous authorities, Parampara system. This is the Parampara system. So, here Devahuti makes inquiry. Now, Lord Kapila has been answering her questions. But in between these questions, makes the conversation more enlivening. It makes it more enlivening. Prabhupada says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. So the Bhagavad Gita instructs us that a prospective disciple or a student should approach a bona fide spiritual master, surrender to him, then make relevant inquiries, pariprashnena, relevant inquiries, proper inquiries, pariprashnena, sevaya, and also render service to the spiritual master. So this inquiry is very, very important. But interestingly, Prabhupada says that whenever he met his spiritual master, of course, not many times, say 5-6 times he would have met physically. And every time he had only one question. Does somebody know what is the question? How shall I serve you? Only one question. But that's a loaded question. How can I serve you? And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave a simple reply. Simple, short reply, not very long reply. And that became the life and soul of Prabhupada's, devotional service. He just said, preach this teaching of Lord Chaitanya in the English language, the English-speaking people. So that became a revolutionary reply by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Tadvag visargo janataha viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhadyavatyupi namani anantasya yashonkitani yat shrunvanti gayanti grananti sadhavaha. So the reply of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that created a revolution in the heart of Srila Prabhupada. Of course, Prabhupada is a pure devotee, Nitya Siddha, Shakti-Avesh Avatar. But still playing the role of a disciple, ideal disciple. So he made inquiry, pariprashnena sevaya, and his inquiry is ready to serve. Therefore, the inquiry itself of Prabhupada is instructive. How shall I serve you? Sevaya. And pranipatena, surrender. Surrender is there. Ready to carry out the order of the Guru. Always ready. So, like that, Devahuti is inquiring from Lord Kapila. Now, at this stage, when Lord Kapila has explained the preliminaries of devotional service, now to further inquire about devotional service itself, her question is, what kind of devotional service is worth developing and practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet? Now, this question is very relevant because previous to this, Lord Kapila has been telling that the goal is to attain devotional service to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So now she has made up her mind, now I want to immediately attain the service of your lotus feet. Because her son is the Supreme Lord. So she's saying your lotus feet. And also easily how it is possible to be done. Now she will substantiate why is she asking easily how it can be done. Because the path of spiritual practice, spiritual life in general, this way the scriptures generally describe, is very, very, very difficult. Very difficult. But by the mercy, by the grace of the Supreme Lord, by the grace of the spiritual master, it can be simplified, it can be made very easy. Just like Krishna incarnated 5,000 years back and spoke the Bhagavad Gita. And even he spoke to Uddhava, the Uddhava Gita. He spoke to so many different personalities. Krishna spoke. He gave instructions. But when he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even though there were very intelligent, extraordinarily intelligent personalities like the 6 Goswamis and so many others who inquired from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for the mass of people, for the people in general, he just said, chant Hare Krishna. That's all. Just said, chant Hare Krishna. So, that chanting Hare Krishna is for the same purpose. What kind of devotional service is worth developing and practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet? Now, what Kapila Deva is going to explain, he doesn't say just chant holy name and you will get that. Because devotees' inquiry is very, very intelligent inquiry. Very intelligent inquiry. So then, if we have got the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, simply chant Hare Krishna and you'll achieve all perfection. And that's enough for you. Then why we have to bother with all this difficult subject matter? That devotee is inquiring and questions lead to answers, answers lead to further questions, and she's going to get into so many details. Why we have to break our head about all this? So when we hear first time at least, or when you are new to Krishna consciousness, we hear, simply chant Hare Krishna, you will achieve all perfection. Immediately we don't accept it so easily that merely chanting Hare Krishna will actually help us achieve the highest perfection of going back to God or achieving ultimate liberation or becoming fully enlightened about ourselves and everything else. We don't accept it or we don't easily believe it or we don't understand it so very nicely. How this chanting of Hare Krishna is going to work? So that is explained here. The whole of Bhagavad Gita, it is explaining how this devotional service works, how it is actually going to work. Now in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, quoting from Bhagavad Gita, Mam hi partha vyapashritya yepisyu papayonaya. See, many times Prabhupada, without quoting the Sanskrit or the original, he is actually quoting. What does it say here? It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that no one is barred from rendering service to the Lord. Same thing in English, what is in Sanskrit, he is giving in English. In simple way, he is explaining the same thing. Whether one is a woman or a laborer or a merchant, if he engages himself in the devotional service of the Lord, he is promoted to the highest perfectional state and goes back home, back to Godhead. The whole purport is only 3 sentences. First sentence is, it is stated in Bhagavad Gita that no one is barred from rendering service to the Lord. Now, no one is barred means no one is disqualified. Nobody is considered unfit. And that no one means it includes all types of people, everyone. In fact, the scripture, Bhagavatam says, even the animals and the birds And the worms can also take to devotional service and actually achieve the perfection, highest perfection. You see, the Lord's devotees appear from the spiritual world. They come in various forms. Just like I always tell, do you think Hanuman is a monkey? Some foolish people, they see one monkey, Hanuman, Hanuman, Hanumanaya. I said, what is this? Hanuman has come and some monkey has appeared. You think Hanuman is a monkey? Or every monkey is Hanuman? All kinds of stupid things they do. And they believe that also very seriously. They don't understand Hanuman is not a monkey. This is very important to understand. Hanuman is not a monkey. He has appeared for the sake of assisting Lord Ramachandra in his transcendental pastimes on this earth. He has appeared in the form of a monkey. As much as Lord Rama has appeared in the form of a human being. But Ramachandra is not a human being. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hanuman is a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. His form is transcendental. Very easy to understand. A monkey, can it jump across one leap across the Indian Ocean from India to Sri Lanka? Possible? Any monkey can do it? No. So, Hanuman is not a monkey. Okay. So, similarly, Garuda. What is the form of Garuda? Garuda has appeared in the form of a eagle or vulture, a bird. What can a bird do? It can just fly here and there. So Garuda also flies because in the form of a bird. But he is not a bird. And Bhagavatam describes the glories of Garuda. Bhagavatam describes the glories of Hanuman also. What are the prayers Hanuman offers to Lord Rama? In one prayer, the entirety of Ramayana is condensed in one verse by Hanuman. This is Hanuman's intelligence. You'll be convinced it's not a monkey's intelligence. It's not even human intelligence. It's superhuman intelligence Hanuman has got. There's a prayer to Hanuman in the Ramayana itself. Manojavam maruta tulya vegam jitendriyam buddhimatam varishtham. Buddhimata means among intelligent persons, he is the most topmost personality. Buddhimatam varishtham. Topmost among intelligent persons. And that is very evident. Very evident when he summarizes in the Bhagavatam the whole Ramayana in one verse. And even when he searches for Sita Devi, he goes to Lanka to search for Sita Devi. So too, after he discovers her, then how does he introduce himself? That I am not some Rakshasa who has changed the form and come just to entice you or something like that. So he's sitting on top of the tree under which Sita is being kept by Ravana in the Ashokvana, and he begins to sing the glories of Rama. In brief, the Ramayana is again summarized by Hanuman. Sita Devi used to know, who is this who's singing Rama's glories? So initially she doesn't believe it could be somebody who's like a devotee of Lord Rama, emissary from Rama. But after she hears and asks some relevant questions, then when he gives answers to that, then she's confident, yes. So many things. Anyway, so a monkey can summarize Ramayana? A monkey can glorify Lord Rama? Impossible. So he's not a monkey. It's not a monkey. This fundamental understanding people don't have. That he's not a monkey. He looks like a monkey. You may say that, yeah. Similarly, Devahuti, she is not a woman. She has appeared in the form of a woman. Not only Devahuti, all of us, fundamentally what is the teaching of Bhagavad Gita? We are not the body. So bodies we have are that of a man, a boy, a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Stri, Dvijabandhu. All these are forms of the body, description of the body. The real person is the spirit soul within. And that is why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, no one is barred from devotional service because everyone is spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. So as part of Krishna, we are of the same quality as Krishna, spiritual, completely spiritual beings. But foolishly we identify with this incidental body and we have so many designations for ourselves and for everybody else also. And our whole life is simply one life of designations. Upadhi. That's why the fundamental definition of bhakti given in Narada Pancharatra, Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam. Bhakti means you become free from all the designations. All the designations. Then only bhakti begins actually. Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. All these impositions on our consciousness, who am I or what is this world or everything, all the misconceptions have to be cleared away. Tat paratvena nirmalam. Your consciousness should be freed from all these misconceptions. You become purified of all the misconceptions. And then Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchate. Then your senses become purified. And you are fit to render actual devotional service. So Prabhupada says actual devotional service begins after you become purified of all misconceptions, all material designations. See, designations refer to material designations. Whereas when Shastras say we are eternal servant of Krishna, that is not a designation. That I am servant of Krishna. That is what I actually am. I am eternally that. That is my actual constitution. Prabhupada uses this word, constitution. So everyone is eternally a servant of Krishna. Servant, that means not the material conception of servant. Devotee. Their servant means devotee, devoted to lovingly serve Krishna. So that is our actual identity, that's our actual position, that's our actual constitution. So while we understand I am not the body and eternally I am servant of Krishna, presently our position is we are full of so many misconceptions about who I am. And all these misconceptions are stemming from so many designations. So while we are having these misconceptions and we think, I'm a man, or I'm Indian, or I'm intelligent, or I'm not so intelligent, whatever we think about ourselves, whatever conception we have about ourselves, a similar conception is, I'm a woman. Stri, Vaishya, I'm a Vaishya. Shudra, I'm a Shudra. Chandala, I'm a Chandala. These are all designations. So Krishna is teaching, you are not the body, you don't belong to any of those designations. Then why he has to say, Mami Partha Vyapashritya Yepisyu Papa Yonayaha. Here, the word Papa Yonayaha, if you carefully read the Bhagavad Gita, word for meaning, and the translation also, it doesn't mean those who are born in a sinful family. No, very interesting. Simple meaning, no, Papa Yonayaha, those who are born in a womb of a sinful woman. Yoni means birth. It can also mean birth from certain parents. Okay. But that is not the meaning. Prabhupada says lower birth, those of lower birth. In the Varnashrama system, human society is classified into 4 basic divisions, social divisions. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. And lower than Shudra, according to Varnashrama, is all the lower classes. Like Chandala is the lowest. There are class of persons called hunters and mixed castes who cannot be clearly said to be either a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or Vaishya or Shudra. You know? So many designations, labels are there like that. And Narada Muni describes that in the 7th canto, while speaking to Yudhishthira about the classes of humans in this society, human society. So, first class, second class, third class, fourth class, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. 5th class, 6th class, 7th class, 8th class, 9th class, 10th class. Some 10 different classifications is given. And the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, of course, all those lower class people are just grouped into Papa Yonayaha. All those of lower birth, lower class. Now, why is this necessary to tell this? When Bhagavad Gita says you are not the body, you are spirit, soul, pure spirit. Why the Bhagavad Gita speak like that? Because we are so conditioned that we can't give up this idea, I am a man, or I am a human being, or I am intelligent, or not intelligent. We can't give it up easily, simply by hearing from Bhagavad Gita, oh, you're not the body. Whatever the material destinations don't belong to you. You are eternal servant of Krishna, you are eternal devotee of Krishna. Merely hearing that or learning about it doesn't change our consciousness. The way we work is exactly according to the way the consciousness is contaminated. And that is what is called as conditioned soul. Many times Prabhupada uses this term, conditioned soul. Conditioned soul means millions of lifetimes we have been associating with this material nature, and we have developed strong conviction of identifying with this body that is given to us life after life after life after life after life. We identify with the body as the self. Yasyatma buddhi. Atma buddhi. Who am I? I am this body. And the body has got designations. Now the body gets designations not just by the external body. Body also gets designations based on the internal subtle body. Like somebody thinks, I am intelligent. Where is that coming from, the designation I'm intelligent, is coming from the subtle body. I'm a nice person. Where is this designation coming from? It's coming from the behavior, the mind, feelings, etc. So, both the internal subtle body, in the case of human beings particularly, and the external gross body, they are so very strongly, we identify with both of them that we think we are that, and it is not easy to give up that. So while we are having that strong identification and we are not able to give up, so if I identify as a Brahmana, so Shastra says what you should do when you are identifying as a Brahmana to get rid of that nonsense designation called Brahmana. Similarly, those who are identifying I'm a woman, what should you do to get rid of that designation called woman, and you are not that woman or the body or the gross or subtle body. You are pure spirit soul. So there is a recommendation. And what is Krishna's recommendation? Though Krishna has explained the duties of Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, everybody is explained in brief. And elaborately is explained in the Bhagavatam also. But Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami says, Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasha abhir shumbha yavana khasadaya ye anyecha papa yadapashraya shraya. There papa refers to the most sinful people. Unlike Bhagavad Gita, Mami Partha Vipashtitya Yepisyu Papa Yonayaha. Here Krishna is just referring to 3 classes of humans who are of the lower birth. Women, Vaishyas and Shudras. There, Shukadeva Goswami is making a revolutionary statement. And he gives a long list of these people of lower birth who are very, very, very sinful. Very sinful. They are addicted to all kinds of sinful habits. They have no sense even what is sin and what is pious activity. And there is no pious activities they do anyway. So why will they even bother to, understand what is sinful and what is pious? If one is only engaged in sinful activity, where is question of discrimination? There's no discrimination. It doesn't work. So even for such people, what does Shukadeva Goswami say? Kirata hunandra pulinda pulkasha abhira shumbha yavana khasadaya ye anyecha papa yat apashrayashrayaha shuddhyanti tasmai prabha vishnave namaha. I offer my most respectful obeisances to the supremely powerful Vishnu, Prabha Vishnave, extremely powerful, supremely powerful. Because simply by taking shelter of those who have taken shelter of Vishnu, apashrayashrayaha, that means taking shelter of somebody like Prabhupada. The most sinful people can get completely purified of all their material contamination. Shuddhyanti. Completely purified. Same thing Krishna has told in the Bhagavad Gita. Because Krishna has simply said Papa Yonayaha. So anybody, if they take shelter of Krishna, Mamhi Partha Vyapashritya. And how to take shelter of Krishna? Through approaching a bona fide spiritual master. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanastapvadarshan. So same thing Shukadeva Goswami is elaborately explaining in the Bhagavatam and telling ye anye cha papa yadapashrayashrayaha shuddhyanti tasmai prabha vishnave. So by taking shelter of the Supreme Lord through his pure devotee, one can become completely purified of all these designations and begin real devotional service. And when actually one performs devotional service, easily and immediately one can actually attain ultimate liberation. But here it is not told about liberation. It is said, she's asking, what kind of devotional service is worth developing and practicing to help me easily and immediately attain the service of your lotus feet? That is actually bhakti. Bhakti means to serve the lotus feet of Krishna. And practically speaking, how do we serve Krishna's lotus feet? Before we actually even approach Krishna, how do we serve his lotus feet? So serving lotus feet means, in the beginning at least, we accept the instructions of Krishna as he is given in Bhagavad Gita, or as it is taught to us by our spiritual master. We accept the instructions of Krishna. Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, chant Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada is giving the same instruction, chant Hare Krishna. He is repeating Krishna's instructions from the Bhagavad Gita or from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions. He is repeating. So we accept those instructions and follow. So in our stage, serving the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord means accepting the instructions of the Supreme Lord and actually carrying out those instructions, following those instructions. That's the meaning of serving the lotus feet. Like even Guru Puja, we sing, serve the lotus feet of the spiritual master. So how do we serve the lotus feet? Of course, the spiritual master, we take the dust off his lotus feet. We bow down to his lotus feet. We worship the lotus feet. That's what we do. As far as Guru Vandana, worship of the spiritual master is concerned. Yes. But it is not just limited to that, some ritual alone. No. We have to, more importantly, or most importantly, service to the lotus feet means accepting the instructions and following them, both in letter and spirit. Both in letter and spirit. And that's not easily done. In the beginning at least, we have to be trained, we have to learn how to follow the instructions. And therefore, the Acharya not only trains us, teaches us, but he sets an example by his own personal life. Acharya means he teaches by example. He shows how to worship. He shows how to carry out the order of the Guru. He carried out the order of his Guru. Whole life he had dedicated for that. So we can clearly see how he served his spiritual master, how serious he was, and what exactly he did to carry out the instruction of the spiritual master. He did the needful, as Prabhupada says, do the needful. Whatever is required to carry out the instruction, I am ready to do. However much difficult it is, it doesn't matter. So, the Acharya teaches how to serve the lotus feet of Krishna. And in the beginning, we have to accept service to the lotus feet of the spiritual master before we become trained up how to serve the lotus feet of Krishna. So let's stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Okay, any quick questions? It's less than minutes.
In today's verse, Mother Devotee is saying what she is using Anjasa. So I have
Easily.
So I come across to 3-4 places as far as I remember. In 7th canto, 8th canto, 11th canto. In Bhagavatam, from in Bhagavatam side only. This word has been frequently come. Anjasa, Anjasa, Anjasa. Sri Maharaj was the verse for Bhagavatam. So here one question now came in my mind. As you explained that they are inquiring their own purpose, or they are representing the
Common people.
common people.
Yes, Yudhishthira Maharaj is already a pure devotee. He is inquiring for the sake of us, for our sake.
Already
They are not perfect.
elevated. So the mood, the way they are inquiring,
That's it, for themselves.
not repeating them actually.
Correct, that's correct. Devotee also. To give birth to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unless she is a pure devotee, she cannot do that. So she doesn't require to inquire. She is doing it on our behalf. Arjuna doesn't require to inquire from Krishna. He is already a pure devotee. So he is doing it on our behalf. Any other question? Please speak.
About lower birth. The qualifications. Lower birth. We are talking about
Lower birth means materially so many comparisons are made. It's materially lower and higher. Spiritually, nobody is higher, nobody is lower. Spiritually, Brahmana is not higher. Because a Brahmana is also a conditioned soul. Brahmana is conditioned by Sattva Guna. Kshatriya is conditioned by Rajoguna predominantly. Because nobody is purely Sattva or purely Rajas. No. It's all combination. A Vaishya is predominantly conditioned by Rajoguna and Tamoguna. And a Shudra is predominantly conditioned by Tamoguna. So like that, there are gradations we can clearly identify. Because these gunas are acting in specific ways. So characteristics will be there. Their behavior, their inquiries or their conditioning, the characteristics. But nobody is spiritually superior just because I'm a Brahmana. No. Spiritually, all are pure spirit. All are pure devotees of Krishna. That is our spiritual position. Right now we have fallen. So in the fallen state, to elevate different people, there are different prescriptions, except in bhakti. Bhakti, Krishna says, anybody who takes shelter of me can become perfect, simply by following my instructions. So in bhakti, there is no distinction. That's what Prabhupada says, no? In Bhagavad Gita, in bhakti, there is no distinction. Lower and higher birth. You read the purport to that verse. Elaborately Prabhupada explains. Mami Partha Vipashati. But in other yoga systems, other prescriptions in the Varnashrama, Dharma, there is distinction made. Because people are conditioned. But bhakti is so powerful, in spite of the conditioning, simply vibrate your tongue and say Hare Krishna, whether somebody is a Chandala or somebody is a sinful person or a pious person, everybody can become free from whatever conditioning they have and become pure devotees. Prabhupada proved it. You see. He went to America, hippies, so very fallen by material standards of civilized living. And India, he came and met high-class people, very cultured. But to everybody, he just said, chant Hare Krishna. That's all. And in fact, it's a fact that before Prabhupada went to America, he was preaching in India. He was preaching in India so many years. 3 decades, nearly 30 years he was preaching. And no response, no significant response. Even the so-called cultured people, Swamiji, you're doing nice work. That's all. As if they are all pure devotees who don't require any. They're all stuck to their, I'm Brahmana, I'm cultured, I'm civilized, I'm Indian. They're stuck to all those designations. Even Brahmana is a designation. They're stuck to that. And they will not make any progress. In spiritual life, they will not make any progress by being stuck to that designation. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, see, one place he says, when he's offering prayers to Lord Jagannath before the Rath Yatra begins, Naham Vipro Nachanarapatir Napi Vaishona Shudro. Says, what is your identity? Or who are you? I am not a Brahmana, I am not a Kshatriya, I am not a Vaishya, I am not a Shudra. I am not a Brahmachari, I am not a Grahastha, I am not a Vanaprastha, I am not a Sannyasi. And what are you? Kintu Prodyan Nikhila Paramananda Purnamritabdher Gopi Bhartuhu Padakamalyor Dasa Dasam Dasa. He identifies himself as a servant of Krishna. So that is our actual identity. So all these designations he negates. So that is bhakti. That is the whole understanding of bhakti. So in bhakti there is no distinction made. Everybody is told chant Hare Krishna. Everybody is told take prasad. In fact, when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Swami Thakur was preaching, he gave this sacred thread to those who were nicely practicing bhakti but were not born in a Brahmin family. So they were discriminated against by the outside caste Brahmanas. But you may be nicely chanting, you may be very clean, you may be nicely studying the Shastra, but still you are born as a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or a Shudra or something, then you are not entitled to do deity worship. So then, just to save them from going to hell, Prabhupada says this, he gave them sacred thread. The sacred thread is not required for devotee. Devotee is beyond that. But at least to recognize he is at least a Brahmana. Moment somebody starts doing devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee, spiritual master, and seriously takes to such devotional service, immediately the person has come to the Brahmanical platform. Immediately. Simply you chant Hare Krishna seriously, nicely, following the instructions of Prabhupada, you become internally, in your consciousness, you come to the level of a Brahmana. And after that, you progress to become a Vaishnava. Progress to become a Vaishnava. Vaishnava means pure devotee in this context. So, there is no question of birth or caste by birth for devotees. For conditioned souls, yes, the birth matters because they're so badly conditioned that a Brahmana will keep clean because of his conditioning as a in Sattva-guna, and a Shudra conditioned by Tamo-guna will be very dirty. So the distinction has to be made in social circles. Obviously, a Brahmana to do deity worship, he has to keep clean. So he tells the Shudra, don't touch me. It will contaminate me. Then I can't do deity worship. See, this untouchability, as they say, has got a scientific basis. It's not untouchability. It's just like doctor, surgeon. If he has to do operation, surgical operation, he has to be completely disinfect himself. So I heard earlier that doctors, surgeons used to take bath and wear freshly, washed and disinfected clothes. Am I correct? Formerly it was. Now there's no need because there are other ways of completely disinfecting themselves. But that was only to indicate that, not that I am superior to you, I'm a surgeon, just because the operation has to be done in such a way that no infection comes in. Somebody else who's not, so much disinfected, if they touch the infection, I pass on to the doctor and the doctor will pass it on to the patient. So that's why doctor will say nobody else is allowed in the surgical operation theater. So same way, Brahmana will say, other than those who are clean, like a Brahmana, others will not be allowed inside the Garbhagudi, inside that sanctum where the deity is kept. Because the deity is supreme pure. Krishna is pavitram paramam. Who can touch the deity of Krishna? Somebody is of the same standard of cleanliness. And that's the standard of Brahmanical cleanliness, Shuchi. So somebody who is Shuchi can actually touch the deity. But somebody is not habituated to such cleanliness, but simply by taking to Krishna consciousness, chanting Hare Krishna, and being trained by a bona fide spiritual master, one can come to that level of cleanliness like a Brahmana. Like those who join ISKCON, whatever their previous background might have been, then they become clean, they become sober, and they're dedicated for spiritual life like a Brahmana should be. And they're better than even so-called caste Brahmanas in this regard. So they can touch the deity, they can worship the deity, even though they are not born in a Brahmin family. They can worship it. So these type of designations have got a particular purpose or a place, but not in the realm of bhakti, pure devotion service. In pure devotion service, there is no room for asking which family you are born, what were your previous habits. We don't inquire. We don't ask. Okay, I'll stop it. Mantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada.